and welcome to another episode of Between Two Brians, where we're going to talk about stuff. And you type in your comments, whether you are here live or you're watching us later on the reruns. We love hearing from you all. But anyway, I'm one of the Brians because, well, actually, I'm more like about 0.72 of Brian, but we to have the full Brian experience, not the real thing, but an uncanny simulation. We need the one, the only Brian Rodman.
I am actually completely AI now.
Oh, are you now?
I am. I have crossed over. So,
and I thought the 6 fingers was just a genetic defect. This is quite.
Oh no, it actually comes in handy if you.
I bet it does. Anyway, and as we drag this show completely into the gutter from the get-go. Anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris, publisher, editor, writer, broadcaster, and former mortician's assistant, and the author of the Brian, put yourself on full screen. Okay, I will. This book here, The Terrors, recently released, and it is doing great. Available on all major book platforms, including Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and you name it, we are there. And we're also on hoopla.com, which makes me so very happy. So
I love that it's on Hoopla. That's so cool.
Isn't that, though? I've never had that happen before, and now I'm going to get all my books on there just so I can have them all on Hoopla. So it makes me happy. But anyway, I am joined, as always, by my cohort, my brother from another mother, probably a brother from another planet, Mr. Brian Rodman. Brian, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Brian Rodman, author and illustrator of Memoirs of an Angel. This is its comic book form, but here soon, folks. This summer, we're launching the novelized version of Memoirs of an Angel, The Grey Pilgrim, which is book 1 in the Cosmic Wheel universe. Outside of the Cosmic Wheel, though, I do another semi-popular comic called The Nebulizer. It is about a feisty AI-controlled nebulizer suit and his human, Connor, as they fight through a post-apocalyptic world filled with allergen mutants. And it's a ton of fun. It's silly. It's goofy. And that one is kid-friendly, while this one is absolutely not, especially the novel. The novel. If any of y'all thought this was a little intense, clutch your pearls. That's all I have to say. The novel's coming strong and hard, as they say.
I bet they do.
Oh, it's good to be back. I have had a rough couple weeks. Actually, I've had a rough few days too. Mm-hmm. I'm thankful that I'm able to do this today. I've been in bed all day except for just like an hour ago.
Man.
So it happens. That's pretty normal for me, honestly. And I don't say that for sympathy or anything. That's what I got to do. However, I've been in bed all day, but I've been listening to I've been re-listening to the what's it called? Crap, I just blanked. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires.
Oh, okay.
I've listened to it before, but it's really good. I'm listening to it again. I'm almost finished with it now. Nice. It's essentially Steel Magnolias meets Dracula. It's fantastic. I really can't. It's by Grady Hendrix, who does just a fantastic job. But yeah, I mean, I keep myself entertained and enthralled when I have to be in bed. But yeah, I'm glad I can do this. This is nice.
I am too. I missed you the last couple of weeks, so
I'm here now, sweetie
pie.
Darling.
Oh, darling.
Pumpkin boo.
Oh. Lonzy, I got the vapors now.
Oh. But hey, did you said we have a new sponsor today?
Yes, I do. We will build up to it. Because I know the person behind it is in our audience, and she's like, "Okay, run it now, Brian." Yeah. Okay, we're gonna tease that. Anyway.
Okay. You're so mean.
I know. This is how I treat my friends. I'm such an a-hole. Anyway, we are brought to you through the courtesy of Patreon. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you, yes, you, can support your favorite creators with an affordable monthly stipend. And here are the wonderful people who are going to get my blog later tonight because Brian got busy with a brand new short story he's writing and it completely slipped his mind to post it. So anyway, we're gonna do this later. And anyway, these wonderful people support me, and these wonderful people support Brian, the other Brian, and it's fun because you get new things. You get to see things that other people don't get to see. You get to see things that are coming up, like for instance, we're going to start tonight running the first draft of The Terrors 2, the sequel to this book. We have the first draft entirely done, and we're going to start running chapters. The first chapter will be available for everyone. And that's whether you paid or not. You can pop in there and take a look at it and see the new book From Dusk Till Dawn.
Nice.
And yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And so anyway, please come see it. And Brian, I know, shares his views on life and religion and stuff, and his faith.
Yeah. I have. I haven't been able to do it last couple weeks because of my health. But tomorrow I will be uploading this week's video check-in. They're about 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes long. And really, they're just kind of off the cuff, anything that I'm thinking about in the moment. But here, coming up soon, we will be releasing for Patreon, for patrons only, we will be releasing part 1 of Memoirs of an Angel, the Grey Pilgrim PDF, fully illustrated, completely done. So, and that's going to be before the Kickstarter launches. This is just for patrons. So,
wow.
Yeah. So you guys get the finished product on PDF, just to get a little taste, see what it's going to be like. Yeah. So that's coming up soon.
Excellent. So check us out. That's patreon.com. You can find Brian at Brian Rodman, all one word, lowercase, and I'm at Brian K. Morris, all one word, lowercase. So check us out. Check us out. Show what we have to offer you. Yeah, baby, check us out. So anyway, our other sponsor, our ongoing sponsor, this gentleman who did this cover here, he also did this cover and this cover. And this cover. What do they all have in common? Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Plasma Fire Graphics is Jeffrey Hayes, and he is, as you have seen, a versatile artist. He does not use AI. That's all him. And he is also a great guy to deal with, and you will love his indie creator-friendly pricing. And he's also a 2-year consecutive winner for Best Cover on the Pulp Factory Awards. A lot of accomplishments, and the man lives to work for you because you've worked hard on that book, and it deserves the best cover that you can get, and Jeffrey Hayes is the guy that'll get it for you. Anyway, Jeffrey can be found, he's got a page on Facebook where you can look at some of his samples. Then you go to plasmafiregraphics.com and check out more samples and get in touch directly with the man and get on his schedule. You will be so glad you did. He's great to work with, and the results speak for themselves. That's Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And now I have teased long enough. We have a brand new sponsor, one I am personally vested in because I have books there. These wonderful people. It's an independent bookstore out of West Des Moines, Iowa, at one of the major malls there. And they also do a series of shows throughout the upper Midwest called the Indie Author Book Expo, or IABE. And their La Grande Fromage, Jen Thompson, who has been on Clever Title Pending a couple of times, if you remember that. This is her store, and it's run by the staff of the IABE, and she's wonderful. They are wonderful, and they are one of our new sponsors now. Take a look at this.
Hey everyone, if you haven't heard, let me tell you all about Iowa's only all indie independent bookstore. That means every book on our shelves is self-published or produced by a small publisher. What does that mean for you? Simple. Better books built together. Now come check out what you've been missing at IABE Books and Gifts and find a new reason to fall in love with books again. Located at Valley West Mall across from the Des Moines Children's Museum. IABE is a literary nonprofit.
So check them out. They also have great gifts there made by the staff. They also have meeting facilities, and they have story times. They have special events, and it's a great place to hang out. So definitely check out the IABE at the Valley West Mall in West Lafayette. Or not West Lafayette, excuse me. That's close to where I live. West Des Moines, Iowa. I know, slick as an oil slick, aren't we? Anyway. Anyway, please check them out. You'll be glad you did. So, and we welcome them as our brand new sponsors, one of our co-sponsors. So, yay. Thank you, Jen Thompson. We love you and the staff there.
I actually need to
now-
get back to her. I'm gonna get with her about selling memoirs as well.
I've got to send her some copies of The Terrors. So, but anyway, let's start with the comments, because we've got something dear Lord, we've got over
1,000.
something like 6 dozen of them. We're not going to read them all. And we will mark the ones. If you have questions, please write them in the comments. And I will mark them, but we will get to them after we say hello to everyone. Here we go. Kelly Carlisle or Kelly Austin is here. Good evening, friends. I'm still in that happy mood. Ken Allard, although I'm really getting low on coffee, and she did get through her shower without incident. That'll be on Kelly's OnlyFans account. But anyway, good evening to you both. And anyway, everyone's saying hello to each other. And these two have a conversation going here. I think they're going to here. And hello, Jen Thompson. Hey, beautiful. How you doing? Good to see you, Jen. Mwah. Hope I didn't screw up your ad too badly. And yes, Jen Thompson, that's the one. Yes, you know her, you love her. You can't get enough of her. And have you met Jen, Kelly? She has a bookstore, is always looking to get stuff on the shelf. Yes, indeed. Always, she says. And yes, I remember. I've still got to send you some copies of The Terror. I have not forgotten. And let's see. And they're talking. And yes, she made a commercial that is premiering tonight, and we'll be running it as long as she wants me to. And yes, see, this is the meeting place. That's right, Rising Tide. That's what it does. And good evening to Grant Lankard, a very talented writer, artist, illustrator, Beowulf, and Memoirs of the Morbid, plus a new book on a cryptid super team that I'm really looking forward to. And let's see, and I don't think I've been able to watch this show when it was live. Well, today is your day. Today is your day. And let's see. Anyway, everyone's saying hello to each other. And Jen is so pumped. All right. Never mind. Anyway, yeah, really, I am. I better keep both hands above the screen. And Dawn may have done a happy wiggle in her chair. I'm just keeping the only certain comments here, the lascivious ones. Yeah. And Donna Carlene is here. Check her out on lulu.com. All her fantastic books, along with Carl Witzman. And that Witzman dude should be here soon. All right, excellent. We will be looking forward to that. And there he is now, as if summoned. You say his name 3 times, and there he is. Hello, yeeted our guests out at our dinner and then played Catley.
That's right. Throw those people out of your house. They don't belong there.
That's right, by God, squatters, I'm telling you. And hello, BRIANS and Brian adjacent entities from Nick Tockard. Nick, how you doing, brother? Nick is the chief set of hands now at the brand new, highly improved, never mind the Furthermore, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. on the Nicholas Tockard channel, and also the Historical Fencing Guild, 8 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights, where he will teach you all to murder each other safely. Trust me, that's what he does. And let's see. And Carl,
I know, because I've done it.
Yes, he has. So there you go. And Brian Adjacent Entities has struck a chord with Carl there. And yes, our evenings are going well so far. And Dawn says, I need to keep reminding myself that it's between 2 Brians, not behind 2 Brians. Well,
whatever works.
Hey, that's where all the fun is, between us. But anyway, what'd you miss, Jen? What'd you miss? Anyway, and Michaela J. So good to see you, Jen, my darling. Check her out. Check out author Michaela Jade, .com. That's her website. Also, author Michaela Jade on Facebook. And also, this lady runs review services. So if you want your book reviewed, an in-depth book review, contact Michaela for getting on her schedule for that.
Sounded like you were about to say magician.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I think
I think
that's
that word
fun.
is struggling to come out now.
I think she should change her name to Magician Michaela Jade, just for fun.
Yeah,
She doesn't have to be a magician, just to
that's
throw
true.
people. You know,
That's true. There we go. Yeah, that works. And yes, AI, asthmatic individual. There you go, Brian. There is an AI you can stand behind.
I don't want to though.
Could be.
Yeah.
And Donna Carlene says, don't forget to like and share, folks. Just what she said. Be sure to like and share this broadcast, and it is exclusive to YouTube. So let those poor saps on Facebook, let them know how much fun you are having. So anyway, everyone's saying hello to each other. And Donna says, I keep thinking it's between two brains, but then I remember it's BKM and Rodman.
Not much here, guys. We're looking for the brain cell, but we can't find it.
Yeah, you know that old joke about the brain sucker starving to death, you know?
I share my brain cell with my cats, and they play with it all the time. I don't know where it is at this moment.
Oh, God, I'm going to have to send a search party out for mine. And Teresa Dunn is here, a great poet from Keokuk, Iowa. Mwah, glad to see you here. Everyone's saying hello to her, and everyone's saying hello to William. Both good to see you. Andy, glad to have you here. Glad to see you are doing better, Brian R.
For the moment, sir, but give it time. Ha ha!
Let's see, it's now. Okay, anyway, and Jen said it ain't easy being wheezy.
You can say that again. Good.
That's true. And hello to Brian, and hello to everyone. And yes, you're waiting. I know you're waiting. So you how do you know? Well, wait, no, we don't want to tell everyone. And there we go. And yes, the Terror sequel, Rock on Brian K. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Because what will piss off the bigots more of what pissed them off in the first place. So there. And let's see. Here we go. I'm going to mark your question there, Nick, and we'll talk about it maybe when we get caught up here. Awesome, Brian R. on the Gray Pilgrim. And Jeffrey Hayes is incredible, and he rocks. That he does. And let's see, and woo! There we go. And nailed it. Thank you. I'm all about nailing it. Anyway, and thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it. And Sarah is with us, my henchwoman from the EclipseCon recently. Mwah, glad to see you here, hun. I hope you're having a great week. And hello, Woke Breaker. Aloha to you, my friend. Glad to see you. And she also says, don't forget to like the show. Well, we can't guarantee that you'll like the show, but at least hit that thumbs up icon. And let's see here, everyone's. And yes, it's good to see you too. And depends on your personal goals are for your particular project. More Rippaverse, kind of a both, and or like rainy draws, smaller but fun, and letting whatever comes. Okay, that's cool, very cool. And I need to get some Tums. Hope it's just my dinner, not the show. You never know.
Trust me, actually, it's the show. It's
the show. That's where smart money is. And there we go. And Woke Breaker is dispensing medical advice here, and maybe if I say it enough times, sooner or later, there you go. And I don't think you have any, but that's okay, though. That's all right. So anyway, real quick, let's get to Nick's comment here, and then we'll go to tonight's topic.
Okay.
Nick says, have you heard about the Amazon class action suit being cooked up by Kindle users, claiming the Zon artificially inflates ebook prices because it costs them 6 cents per book to distribute, and tied to a monopoly built by the forced exclusivity contracts? And Nick, would you send me that link via DM? I'm just interested for my own sake there.
Yeah, I've not heard about that.
I hadn't either. I know that there is like a major lawsuit against like ChatGPT and all those from several major writers because their work was used, shall we say politely, without permission or recompense. But this is the first one I've heard. Now, I predict already what little I know of the law because I'm an internet rocket surgeon and I study the law on YouTube. So you know that my knowledge of it is filled with more holes than Swiss cheese. But I don't know that you can really claim that Amazon has a monopoly on this because, for instance, I'm able to set my own prices on Amazon, as opposed to something like was it Find a Way Word, or was it Find a Way Far Away Voices or whatever? The one audio company that just got bought up by Spotify, and now they are no longer letting the people that supply them with work select the price
Are you
on their
serious?
products. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, seriously.
Wow.
All the other places like ACX and Audible will allow you, when you set up your account, to determine the price of your project.
Right.
Now, Amazon does suggest, and it does have a thing where if you price it outside of a certain range, like if you price it too low, you get like 35%, I think it is, of the suggested retail price. But if you make it like between $1.99 and $4.99, you get like 60 to 70%, I believe it is. But
I feel like that's more just like guidelines, though, like to help everybody. I don't think that's just, I'm okay with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, and you always have the ability to opt out of it. Like, for instance, I've gone wide, which means that I don't rely on Kindle or Kindle Direct Publishing to distribute my work exclusively, which is what, if you want all the perks of KDP as far as like some of their promotional tools and such, you have to be exclusive with Amazon. But I don't, so that's why I'm on Smashwords.
We're not going to either. So
So, but that's interesting. But I'd really love to see more on that, Nick. I appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who is. There we go. All right, here we go, and let's see, and and thank you, Nick. Much appreciated. And spicy Mexican food. We have the culprit. And Grant just got done making dinner, sausage and pierogies. That's
I haven't had dinner yet, and my stomach just said hello. That's
I had hamburgers and blue cheese coleslaw. But anyway, the Zon has 90+% of the ebook market. Apple Store has 6%. That's true, but there are also other distributors such as Smashwords and such, and I don't know how that would figure in actually declaring Amazon to be a monopoly.
And I would say, if you look at like take Diamond as an example,
right?
For the longest time, they weren't considered a monopoly, even though they pretty much were. You know, so like in this situation, I don't think hey, I'm all for authors taking down the big guys, but I don't know that they have a leg to stand on. Unfortunately, maybe they do. I need to learn more about it. So
yeah, I do too. That's why I want to study that thing more. And Nick, I appreciate the link to that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you don't mind, send that to me too, buddy.
Yeah, we'll do. If he doesn't get you, I will. But what was it? It's like back in the 90s when I was working for Office Depot. Staples tried basically an unfriendly takeover of our company because they wanted our training system. But the Federal Trade Commission shot it down, saying that if the deal had gone through, that Staples would effectively have the great majority of North American business as far as office supplies go. But then later, back in the 2010s, I remember it was when Office Max and Office Depot were going to merge. And the Federal Trade Commission okayed that one because Walmart sold so many.
As long as there's some kind of competition there, you can't call it a monopoly. Even if the competition isn't the greatest, How could and we don't have to get on this, it's a whole different topic.
Right, we got another topic.
How did Diamond get away with that for so long? Because
at one point there were still independent magazine distributors.
Okay.
Going to like supermarkets and some select bookstores.
And I guess they were a distributor of comics, and there were other distributors of books. So I guess it all just okay, I got it. I got it.
Yeah. So I would say this. I would always say that Diamond had a stranglehold until 2020.
Yeah,
but they did
that
not
was
have a minority.
that
Or
was
a majority,
awesome.
rather. So, Kelly Carlisle says Amazon's done nothing for me but give me an eternal headache.
I know it has.
Yeah. And Sarah says, I'm looking at that bookcase behind and to the right of your bookcase, Rodman Rabbit. Oh, yeah.
Oh, this right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are my movies. Yeah, this is for those of you who did not see, I am in what Robin and I have now dubbed my Hobbit hole. I even have a do not no admittance except for party business on my door that my sister-in-law made for me. But yeah, I'll see. Yeah, there's my DVD rack, and then I've got bookshelves, all good stuff, TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a pretty nice, pretty sweet setup
Yes, you
by my
do.
lovely wife. Robin is a wonderful
Shit.
woman. I couldn't do this without her. So she set all this up this weekend.
Good for her. Good.
So
She's terrific.
yeah.
And Sarah made a horrible decision working on no food for the day. You don't do that, sweetheart. Don't make me
no.
don't make me come over there and spank you.
You've got it.
Excuse me, I gotta go by it. Goodbye. Anyway, and Kelly wants to know what the holy crap is a pierogi. It's a kind of I guess you could call it kind of a pasta of sorts.
Yeah.
Kind of like dumpling, like a small dumpling. So anyway, let's see. And Kelly
that
also
was my nickname when I was a child.
little dumpling.
Yeah. No, it was more derogatory. Trust me.
Oh, okay. All right. And Kelly is a pocket. And Kelly now Dawn is either referring to a pierogi here, or she's referring to Kelly. Either one, I'm not sure. And Diamond is not considered a monopoly because they're technically a periodical distributor, so they're lumped in with magazine distributors.
Yeah.
Even though for a very long time they were the only comic book distributor. Yeah, that's true. Diamond having a monopoly is what almost killed the comic industry. It certainly didn't help, and that's why I'm glad to see that we finally have some competition for Diamond, although it doesn't seem to have improved their service much. And you're all kinds of set up.
Yes, it's wonderful in here.
Yes.
And this is the coolest room, the coldest. Well, it's also the coolest, but it's the coldest room in the house. And we needed to get me in here before, because our living room where I was, it gets really hot in the summer, and my asthma does not do well in the heat. So we had to get me back here as soon as possible.
I understand that. Yeah. And never mind the furthermore, according to Nicholas Tucker, is a less genteel program than Between the Bryans. Never mind the furthermore, still a Wild West show.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah, bang, bang, bang. Yeah, I blame the previous host for that. He just had no rules whatsoever, no tracks or nothing. Yeah, and lifting a lot, pretty much my whole shit face palm.
Jeez,
and
Sarah, eat some food.
Yes, get something to eat, darling. We will wait for you. We'll still be here. We'll still be delicious. So anyway, thank you for your comments, and keep them coming. Because we're going to start talking about stuff. And here we go. Pierogies are Polish ravioli, which are absolutely divine. Yes, they are.
Brian,
yes,
I read polished raviolis, and I was confused for a slight second. I was like, gross.
Oh, come on. You were a teenager. Don't tell me you haven't polished your ravioli once or twice. I'm telling you.
Oh, you little dumpling, you.
Oh. That's right. And I'm not sure which one he's talking to, but I'm your Huckleberry, Brian.
Why not both? Yeah.
Oh, I can handle that. Yeah. But anyway, we do have a subject tonight, believe it or not, friends.
Half hour in.
Yeah, we're really half hour in. Goodbye, everyone. Anyway, but no, this Brian, who comes up with most of our subjects, had a very good one on hustle culture. And Brian, you want to talk about what is hustle culture?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everybody's used the term. I certainly have. It's the hustle, right? It's the grind is another way to say it as well. It's work ethic. It's a good work ethic that is, or it should be, right? But the hustle, it's just this constant grind, kind of, especially in the creative industry. A lot of us work full-time jobs as well as do our creative endeavors. before I was on disability, that's what I did, and I ironically got a heck of a lot more done than I do now. But that's what it is. It's the constant grind. It's getting up, it's doing the thing, it's going after it. It's just continuing to do it no matter what, and not stopping, not giving up. That's I think that's a good representation of hustle culture. Is that?
I would
Would you
agree.
agree? Okay.
I would
Okay.
agree. Now, of course, you have to wonder, is that a bad thing? Or is it, as I said in the introduction to this show, is it the price of doing business here?
Hmm.
Now, the thing is, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And you can languish in obscurity all you wish, as you can tell which side I am on in this. But I don't think there's anything wrong with hustling in this. Of course, anything you do can be detrimental to your physical health, can be detrimental to your mental health, such as it is with some of us. And you mentioned, Brian, full time. I tell people that since I was let go from my full time job in 2012, I moved from a plan A that took up 40 hours of every week to one that takes up every waking moment of my existence.
Right.
Although I'm happier, I'm far happier now.
Yeah.
Because because I'm in control of my business,
Right.
and it is improving. And I'm marking some of your comments here if you hear clicks every now and then, because we are going to revisit some of them. So
and tonight's biggest, I don't even want to say it's a debate, really.
Not really.
It's more just it's I think for me personally, I have experienced this in myself, and I have seen it in just our culture in general, not just creative industry, but really worldwide, especially in Western culture, is hustle culture going way too far. And that is, I mean, that takes different forms of being a workaholic, where you forsake everything else in your life, loved ones, everything for your career. And we glorify that, especially in America. We want people like, you see countless stories of people who like started from the bottom, became this huge thing, but look at their personal life, it's a wreck. And it's because they sacrificed all of these things to do their job to the best of their possible ability, leaving the rest of their life in shambles. And a lot of times we just kind of gloss over that, and we just praise the work that they've done. And I don't want to vilify work ethic at all. I mean, I know, because I'm a millennial, I know we have a generational gap here. BKM here is a wonderful baby boomer, and I'm a lackluster millennial.
I would say far from that, my friend. But.
Well, and the stereotypical thing about baby boomers is the workaholic, and then the stereotypical thing about millennials is we don't want to work. We want to, we're lazy, that kind of thing.
Right.
And I think what we find there is this struggle of the stereotypical baby boomer goes way too far, and the stereotypical millennial doesn't go far enough in work ethic, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead. What were you?
I was going to say my generation, and I'm on the late end of the baby boomer thing, but my parents and many of our parents lived through World War II.
Yeah.
And then the post-war boom, where our economy was booming, and people could have, people back then, many people couldn't get by in a month on what people would earn in a year, but inflation kind of took care of things. Because people well off were living on $2,000 a year, but the prices were considerably lower then. But people could get a house. People get a house and had a job that once you settled in, you stayed there for the rest of your life.
Right.
And you got a pension and or Social Security. And so I think I'm on the tail end of that, in that I think I have a strong work ethic, whereas I might not go as far as you did, Brian, about the stereotype, but I have seen a number of younger creators, not just in comics, for instance, but in the print industry, the prose industry, that just don't seem to understand the relationship between a strong work ethic and success.
Yeah.
There is a certain amount of hustle you must do, because the way that publishing has evolved, the companies are not going to, let's say you get on with one of the top 5 publishers. Let's say you get a job at Marvel or DC or wherever. Advertising now
This
for
is Beasley,
people like,
by the way.
hi Beasley. Hi Beasley. Oh, I knew eventually you'd get a show cat in here. Anyway. But anyway, that advertising now is not for letting people know, hey, we signed this great hot new author, you ought to check them out. It's more or less like, here's the new book by Stephen King, James Patterson, you name it, that's already established. Al Ewing, Chris Claremont in comics, Peter J. Tomasi. Here's someone who's a known quantity, and their work, and all we're doing is telling you there's more of it to be bought now.
Yeah.
Rather than promoting somebody that's on the way up, it's usually to promote someone that's already established. So, and in a lot of cases, that's why a number of creators in the creative, fields promote themselves, because they can't rely on their publishers to do it for them as they once did. So.
Yeah, and I think, just in general, my generation, Gen X, saw a lot of the negative aspects of the work ethic of our parents.
Right.
And I know plenty of people my age or my sister's age. My sister's in Gen X. And, I know plenty of us that work very, very hard. I think even in my disability, I work hard. But we don't make work our life, as many of us in our generations have seen. And again, you hit on it perfectly when you talked about your parents' generation grew up in World War II. It was the culture that was ingrained in you. And it's a lot. It's very good to have a strong work ethic. It's a very good thing. But I think in general we have taken it too far. But as a culture, but what do you do when you get into an industry that expects that hustle out of you?
Right.
If you want to be successful, then you need to adapt. And I think there is room for making changes as you go to that culture, but you can't just show up and demand that change immediately. I think you have to get in there, you have to earn some clout, and then you can change some things. So I don't know. I look at like, I could not work for a big publisher right now with my health the way it is. I couldn't keep up. I can barely keep up with my own independent work. It's taken me 2 years to produce something that's not even out yet. In these 2 years, my health has struggled severely. So my situation is different. Obviously, I'm going to put a lot more emphasis on rest because I have to. But I don't know. I do look at people who glorify the hustle, and I see them ignoring life. And I've seen too many people do that. And it makes me sad, even if there's nothing you can really do about it, even if that's just the way it is, it still sucks. I still hate when that happens,
Yeah. Well, and a lot of employers recognize how important it is to have downtime because they talk about that work-life balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, a lot of the people that talk about the most I've noticed have been the ones like, okay, we want you to have a good work-life balance, but we want you to put in a whole lot of overtime too,
Right.
just
Can you
in
come
case.
in every weekend, please?
Yeah, you weren't doing
Yeah.
anything on Sunday, were you?
Who's Jesus? Just come on in.
Yeah, I gave it his birthday last year, but anyway,
Oh,
I had a manager one time that I won't name the company he worked for, Office Depot, but he would ball people out like if of course you get a day off. It was a 7-day-a-week operation, and of course you have to have days off because
Right.
laws. And
Thanks, Henry Ford.
Yeah, really. Thanks for nothing, Hank.
Actually,
Anyway,
no. I will say this.
Yeah.
I see a lot of those memes hating on Henry Ford.
Yeah.
But that dude, the work week was a lot longer before he set those rules. So,
oh yeah,
I mean, it was pretty much slave labor all the time. And he was like, nope, 5-day work week. So thanks.
Yes, seriously.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks to him, definitely. I said that with my tongue firmly in my cheek. Trust me.
Yeah.
But no, the thing is, the manager we had, you plan what you're going to do on your day off, and it's all the stuff that you couldn't get done because you're doing the job. And he would ball people out if they weren't hanging by their phone in case he needed them to come in on their day off.
I worked for somebody like that. I got out of that situation as soon as I could.
This manager balled out the person who committed this offense at one of our morning meetings, and he said, I expect you all to be pretty much hanging by your phones. This was before cell phones were a thing. So, be hanging by the phone in case I need you.
To do then?
Hang by the phone and wait for him to call.
Yeah, so
then
don't
figure
go
out
anywhere.
What you're
Yeah,
that's and I told him basically where to go and the quickest way to get there.
Yeah.
So,
especially, did you say that was Home Depot?
No, not Home Depot. Office Depot.
Oh, office supplies are not that serious, sir.
No, they're not. So either.
I'm not going to do that for a stapler. That's ridiculous.
No. And we've got to rush this one comment here. She's been waiting to tell you this. Not. There we go.
Hi, Mom.
It's Mom. Had to put that up there. So, and we're getting a lot of good comments here about hustle culture. But I go back to the idea that as long as you don't kill yourself doing it, but it is a part of what you have to do. And I think and I will say it's a problem that we get, regardless of the field you're in, whether it's usually it's some sort of entertainment field, whether it's writing or music or acting, whatever, that there exists a subculture that just can't quite grasp the concept of you have to hustle to get your name out there. And you have to hustle because at a lot of our levels, of course, if you're James Patterson, you can write a check. If you're Brandon Sanderson, you run an 8-figure, mid 8-figure Kickstarter. And I have infinite respect for that man, because here's the thing: before his campaign was through, where he made like $41 million in Kickstarter, he had his people, and yes, he's got people, unlike you and me. Well, you've got Robin, I got Cookie, but anyway, the idea was he had his people go through Kickstarter and find book projects that were on the verge of being fully funded, and he'd be like, oh, that sounds good, yeah, go ahead and fund, bring them up to their goal. Or even a few of them were like, hey, that sounds good, are there stretch goals? Make sure he gets them all. Make sure he has to do them all.
That proves that he's a wonderful human being, but that's also an amazing marketing campaign, because and it's wonderful when you can do both, right?
Yes.
I remember that news came out that next Saturday. My dad and I went to the bookstore, and I bought 3 Brandon Sanderson novels because of that. I mean, I love his books, don't get me wrong, but there were 3 I did not have.
I'm going to do the same thing,
And I found that out, and I bought his books because I'm like, that's a guy who deserves my money.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's total rising tide there, and I agree with you. I'm just haven't gotten around to making those purchases yet, and I'm not
Well,
going to buy
no, I
them
mean,
used.
not
I'm going to
everybody
buy them out
can.
of a
Yeah.
real bookstore. So
Yeah, I was Barnes and Noble bought them. Yeah, so yeah,
good man,
that's
good man.
that
So
was also funny story. That was
yes,
also my dad and I. That was our first outing when I was of me being in a wheelchair, because I have to
uh-huh.
have a wheelchair when we're, there's long distances of walking, and that was the first time we'd done it, and I made him run to the bathroom, like run away in fear, because
Uh-huh.
I he parked me by the magazines. He's like, I could go to the restroom. I was like, all right, I'll just sit here like this in the wheelchair, and he was like, stop, no, no, and he ran to the bathroom. It was one of my better moments in life, I think. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
I
and
love it.
also he would be wheeling me through, and I'd just be talking to people, watching them get very uncomfortable because the person in the
Mhm.
wheelchair was acknowledging them. So
That-
I had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. We're gonna get back to some of the comments now. Kelly Austin says my work ethic is messaging Brian Morris all the time with silly messages, procrastinating till 9 p.m. and then working till 4 a.m.
That's
And mine is answering all of them, giving her poor advice, and then trying to get my work done. So I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's see. Nick Tucker said the Michigan City school system taught me there are only two kinds of energy: hustle and flow. You need to have a balance. And then there's some stuff here on independent comics that we will get back to if we have time. Sarah asks, now, at what point do you do it so much that you burn yourself out, and where is that line?
That happened to me.
Yeah.
Our first Kickstarter that we ever did, it was the trade paperback of Memoirs of an Angel,
Yes.
part 1, available right now on brianrodman.com. And
Way to
and
hustle.
yes, uh I was working so much. I was working full-time job, 40 plus hours a week, and coming home and staying up till 2 a.m. or later working on that book to get it out.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was, by the time the book was done, I was completely exhausted. Thank God my asthma was not as bad as it is now.
Right.
Because, or I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I did so much work in a matter of a couple months that I had to take 5 months off from doing anything,
Mhm.
because I was completely exhausted and burned out, and I just didn't allow room. I didn't allow room for rest, and I don't just mean sleep. I
Mhm.
mean going out with friends. I mean giving myself space to unplug from my work.
Mhm.
And it's really hard a lot of times. Brian, you can absolutely attest to this, because we
Mhm.
love what we do.
Yeah, that's
And because we love what we do, it makes it so difficult to stop. And I mentioned this, I don't know, I mentioned this probably 6 months ago.
uh-huh.
For me personally, I feel guilt that I'm not being productive. When
Yeah.
I mean, and I am in a position where my body tells me I have to rest, I have no choice. Because if I
Right.
push myself even a little, I'm down for a week or more.
Right.
Um, but even in this situation, I know I have to rest. It's absolutely important for me to do so. Um, but I feel bad. I feel
Mhm.
like I'm doing something wrong because
Yeah.
I'm not producing the thing that I love, the thing that I want to get out there.
Mhm.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's bad to feel guilty for it, because you shouldn't feel
Yeah.
guilty for
Right.
needing to rest.
Yeah.
But I think there is a good that you're just passionate. You're passionate about something. That passion is not a bad thing.
That's true.
But there's a fine line there to walk, and
Yeah.
figure it out. And you're not going to do it perfectly the whole
No,
time. You're just not. You're going to have grace on yourself.
that's
Um,
true. That's
but
true.
yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah, and I've hit that wall occasionally myself. And Nick Tuckert has a comment: if you do not schedule your rest/downtime, your body and mind will do it for you. That is
Yeah.
so very true.
Yes.
Um, Don Dula said, "I hustled till my body said stop,"
Yeah.
and so yeah. Um, Sarah says we have so many people in this country who burn themselves out in the epidemic of anxiety, high stress rates, etc.
Mhm.
Then other cultures actually do have siesta time in their work styles. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
like, yeah.
well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like France, for the last like 5 or 6 years, has been having this ongoing national debate about why are we working 40 hours a week? Why
Right.
can't we, have some more me time?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and on the flip side of that, Japan,
mhm.
it's the most common cause of death in Japan is working
Mhm.
too much.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's their culture. It is so high stress work all the time. I mean, and some of my favorite creators are from Japan.
mhm,
Hayao Miyazaki. I mean,
yeah,
that man never stops. He's
yeah.
in his 80s, has said this is my last movie about 17 times, and it never is. Whenever he
Yeah,
says that, no one believes him.
right.
Yeah, it's just I mean, the culture. My dad works in automotive,
Mhm.
and works with a Japanese company with Toyota,
Yeah.
and they are. He said they've gotten better, but they are nonstop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, you look at manga creators who have died. It's
Mhm,
because they're working, 90 hours a week or
mhm.
more
Yeah,
on their
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So yeah,
It's true. It's true. Kelly Carlisle says, my brother Mark, who was an author and scriptwriter and theater director, he worked all day at his job and then came home to stay up all night till he passed away from a medical issue he ignored.
yeah,
That's something we've got to keep an eye on our health.
yeah.
So, that's very important. Thank you for sharing that. Grant Lankert says, I think the Gen X learned not to work themselves to death from the baby boomers. That seems valid. They can see
Yeah,
how we basically my generation complains about other generations not having an adequate work ethic, but there's a difference between having a work ethic and near suicidal compulsion. So,
yeah, yeah. And I think
yeah.
that's the thing is when the near suicidal compulsion becomes the norm
Hmm.
and the expectation. Because I've heard, I mean, you've heard that saying, you might have even used it
Yeah.
over and over again. I've heard, being on be
Can't hear you.
Can
Pardon
you
us
hear
while
me
we.
now?
Yes, I can, young man. Yes. Thank you.
What? But I think you've heard time and time again, being early is being on time. No,
Right.
being
Yeah.
on time is being on time. Being early is being late. If we start to shift that around,
Right.
then what things have no meaning anymore. You know what I
That's
mean? And
true.
I think we've gotten these expectations that are really just we've set the bar so high that we've allowed the overachievers to
Yeah.
set the bar for normal. And
Right.
that's a problem.
That is a problem. It's like, the same thing that happens on the lower levels when you start comparing yourselves to other creators, especially
Yeah.
those who are higher up the food chain than you are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because like I can't put out what Stephen King puts out.
oh God, I can't either.
I can't put out what Brian K. Morris puts out. Like
I
I
can't
just
either.
I can't, I mean I can't keep up with that pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, you've already gotten the first draft of the entire book of the second terrorist book, and I'm like,
Yeah.
geez, I haven't even done. I'm not even finished with book one of the Cosmic Wheel stuff yet, and I've been working on it for 2 years. And granted, our situations are different. So,
Yes. Yes.
but that's just it. Not everybody can meet that level.
That's true. Carl Whitman says one must develop hobbies to enjoy life and eventual retirement. Otherwise, one will be bored and work just to keep busy.
Yeah.
That's not my problem. I tell you, I'm just busy. Grant Lankard says, I would say that Gen Z is better at setting boundaries with their employers and not letting their employers walk all over them. More of us should do that. And Nick Tucker says the only thing is, as a millennial, a cosmogenics millennial,
I feel like you just malfunctioned.
I do, yeah. It's like somebody ought to like turn off my power and let me reboot quietly on the corner. Anyway, there's a wisdom in asking the question: is the juice worth the squeeze? Companies broke certain social contracts for working on them. It depends on one's goals. I would say in my case, yeah, it's worth it. But that's an individual thing. Whereas, some people are running their businesses more like hobbies or a side hustle. Whereas this is my plan A. When I left the 9 to 5 and started going 24/7, then for me it works, and it does get better. It does grow if you do it wisely enough, and if you hustle a certain amount. And in fact, that hustle has actually gotten me work. It's also it's also knocked me out of some work too, because I've talked to several people who said, "I'd love to bring you onto a project, Brian, but you're so busy." I'm like, "Ask me. Please ask me. For the love of God, ask me, and I'll let you know if I'm too busy for you. And chances are I won't be."
And that's good to know your boundaries, because that helps. Like if you always say yes, eventually that's going to keep up or catch up with you. And that, I think that's good. And you've been great from what I've seen about being able to say, no, I can't do this. I have too much on my plate.
I had to learn to do it.
Yeah, well, it's hard.
It is very hard,
especially if people are like, "I'll pay you."
Okay, now they get to the front of the queue, exactly. Because I am a whore, I do admit that. but it's also, like I said, I've said several times that in other broadcasts that I can still remember a time when I was so hungry to get the credits and so grateful to be asked to do something that I would just basically say yes to everything. But now that my plate is as full as it is, and I'm reaching, because of my hustle, that I'm reaching bigger markets, that I feel I can be good to myself and say, okay, I have to turn away work. Or like, year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I cut down on my broadcasting drastically. And I get
Which
is
sad as I was to see that happen, I will say I think that was a really smart move.
Thank you.
Because I was worried about you there for a minute.
Brian was worried about Brian too. But no, it just like in 2020 when I was broadcasting every day plus. The choice became: do we do what is manageable, or do we just stop doing it altogether before we started to suck? And not in that life-affirming way, but those were my choices, and I decided not to be bad, but not to go on to the point where it becomes a grind, as long as it stays fun and accomplishes what all the myriad things I wanted to accomplish. So that was my mindset. And I am grateful for the people who even now will ask, you can tell who's paying attention to what you do. I still get people who say, "Hey, when can I be on Clever Title Pending?"
Yeah,
you can be on my next scheduled show. But anyway, no, and I do have some friends who will come on and say, "Hey, listen, can you fit me into something you're doing?" And I'm like, I don't think so. I really want to keep it on the down low. And they're like, "We understand, no problem." And then I find a way to do something for them that is within my abilities to schedule. So, that's where that balance comes in. So good point from Don Doulis. And there's a lot of good points that we're putting on the screen here, even if we are not, people are saying a lot of smart stuff. Yeah, that's true. And and Sarah, a lot of society still expects people to work until they drop. Kelly says you can't let work ethic destroy your life, especially with those like myself who are disabled. I can never work for Marvel or DC or mainstream due to not being able to produce quickly. I do what I can. And the middle class is definitely disappearing. They're not paying mid-level employees anymore. it's a problem I had when I was let go from the water company. Here I am making management money without a title and
Yeah.
without a 4-year diploma. I have a 2-year diploma.
Hey, I'm still here. I just gotta adjust something real quick. So
Oh,
keep
baby.
talking.
Okay.
Not like
Trying
that.
to stop me from talking. But anyway, that's the trick. I'm like donkey. But anyway, but yeah, I think economics is moving the middle class out of the picture, unfortunately, that it is
Yeah.
going to all too soon, I think, become a thing of haves and haves nots, but that's another show.
Although
And
we've been there before as a
yeah,
country and we corrected it. So
that's
we have
true.
been there more than twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
it's a lot of
it's a
foreign
cycle
territory.
with us. We just have to correct it, and I believe we will.
That's true.
It just
And I
depends on
feel
how long will we let it last.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
definitely true, Brian. That's true. But I feel targeted by the statement here. We have gone from a van down by the river being a bad thing to a life goal.
I have friends who live in a van down by a river. So
Yeah,
well, there you
yeah.
go. Yeah.
Mine's more like at a truck stop, but that's another
Yeah.
issue too. But anyway, and people wonder why it sounds creepy that I've got a white van with a bed in the back. But anyway, and yes, 12-hour shifts constantly. Worked thirds, was going home as the sun was rising, heading back at the same. Yeah, and I used to work 7 days a week, 125 hours a week. Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, Devil Wears Prada, very good. And Molly Daniels, glad to see you here, hon. Everyone's saying hello, hello, hello. And corporate design and mentality is literally based on placating psychopaths. I feel targeted again. And and Molly retired, in quotes, to be a domestic engineer. Hubby was forced to retire due to medical issues in 2010. I re-entered the workforce in 2019. And I tell people I've got a sugar mama in the next room, fortunately. But only until I make this thing work.
Hashtag bring Cookie home.
That's right, my God. That's right, my friend. So, so yeah, and I think we all have to decide for ourselves if the pressure of, hustle culture, as we're calling it tonight, how far you want to go. And you have to wonder, or at least set for yourself the boundaries, like how far into your private life do you want to go? How far do you want to go into your family life, your other hobbies?
Yeah.
How much of your life do you want this endeavor to consume?
And I think just like you would with taking on too many projects, you have to consider your commitments in life already. Are
Yeah.
you married? Do you have children? Are you in a fill in the blank commitment that
Yeah.
needs a specific amount of your time and attention? And if you aren't meeting that commitment because of your work, that's a problem in general. I mean, it doesn't matter what the commitments are. If you have committed to them and you're not meeting them because of your work, then you've gone too far. I think that's a good that's kind of a good test. If you look around you and you say, I haven't spoken to my wife in 2 weeks because I've been in my hobbit hole drawing. I mean that's a problem. You should fix that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but I think your spouse is like mine, that you spend too much time in there. They come in like a SWAT team. Pull you out of there. We all can use somebody like that will keep an eye on us and make sure we don't give in to our excesses. Jen Thompson, the IABE says, I say experiment, learn, and grow. Again, I agree. I agree completely with that one. So, and like we said, where is that line? I think that has to be individually balanced by every person. What are they willing to do? What are their goals? What are their long-term and near goals? You don't expect to be like at the top of the heap in 6 months. This all is a process. They call it a journey for a reason.
Yeah.
And you just have to, I guess, figure out how much of your soul you're willing to barter off to accomplish the goals, and what those goals are, and whether they're worth the time and sacrifice.
And be kind to yourself. I think the golden rule, treat others the way you would treat yourself, is great, but I think it also for some people, is helpful to say that backwards. Treat yourself as though you would treat other people, because a lot of people are a lot nicer to others than they are themselves. And I think if you kind of look at it that way, give yourself room to make mistakes. Give yourself room to, like Jennifer said, experiment, try new things, and give yourself grace when you mess up. When you realize you've gone too far, okay, correct it, and then move forward.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And let's see. Nick Tucker, you mentioned the guilt earlier, Brian. Yeah, the guilt is a real constant. That is true. And Dawn says, yes, I get that productive value thingy. If you must know, you have been inspiring to me to accept this hand I've been dealt.
Well, hey, I'm glad. And thank you for saying that, Dawn. I that's one of the reasons I still remain pretty vocal about my situation on Facebook. At first I was really like, I don't know, I felt really weird doing it. I felt, because in the past I've been like, oh, I hate people that like use Facebook as their diary, and then I became that guy, and I kind of, I don't know, like I started off doing that because I was like, I want people to know what I'm going through. I'm stuck in the house. I have no outlet. Like, for better or worse, social media is it, for me. And then I started getting people who said, hey, this is helpful for me to see. And so I kept doing it. And like, if someone gets really annoyed by it, I totally understand. So, but I'm going to keep doing it because of, I think it's important for us to share our struggles with each other. I think it's good to see other people going through some stuff.
Totally agree with that. And we're also joined by Joe D. McPhee from the Small Press Publisher, 10 p.m. on Saturday nights. Watch that great show. And also Thursday nights, Comic Book Spectrum at 8 p.m. on that channel, because he's awesome. And okay, yes. We're what if Jen's mine to look at? Anyway, and I'm here that there aren't enough hours. It's rough out there. Yes, indeed. And she can send she out, and there we go. Everyone's saying hello. And Sarah says, I get pretty hard on myself. This is a good reminder. Thank you. Yes, with the guilt and pushing so hard while thinking I'm not pushing hard enough. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And Nick says, oh, Rodman, my good sir, you sound like my wife. Give yourself grace. Treat yourself like you treat others.
I think some people, you need to remind yourself of that, really, because you will go way too far on yourself.
Indeed. You'll be like me. And indie author Book Expo Jen Thompson says, hey, it's nice knowing I'm not the only 40-year-old with asthma.
Rock on.
Yeah, there we go. And let's see. And Sarah says, thank you for this topic. Today was one of those days. Perfect timing. We're here for you, hon. We are here for you. And let's see. Molly Daniel says if she disappears, it's because she's on the job right now, and the customers are coming in to get her. And Sarah says, I pushed myself hard to the point where I've overdone being counterproductive because I'm laid out for a couple days as a result. And Nick was, I didn't pick this up till I started doing musical theater. But being early is on time is late, late is fired was how I was brought up. Yeah.
Well,
same with me. And the 9 to 5 was created for expectations placed on society. Look at teenagers. It's scientifically proven that they need more sleep than others, yet their workload and schedules are set up to prepare them for the work world, overloaded for even what they're being groomed for.
Hey, man, I was a product of that. I went to a college prep school, and man, no joke. There were some years where I had almost as many hours of homework as I did in school. It was ridiculous. And I, like, looking back, I did not need to go through that. That was, I remember when I graduated high school and went into college, I was like, are you kidding me? College is a breeze.
Yeah.
Like, I like, what are you talking about? And I remember when I finally went into the workforce, I was like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have homework anymore. I can just go home. You know what I mean? I can go home and do whatever I want. This is wonderful.
Yeah. It's almost like a drill camp, It's like going into the military and they put you through the drill camp. And once you get out of there, send me to the front.
Oh,
no
it was
problem.
Great, man. Yeah, I was so happy when I started working full time. I was like, this is so much easier than going to school.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
And Molly Daniel says, I had college professors who would not allow you in the room at the top of the hour. I understand that.
Man.
And Nick had some great wisdom here. Never trust folks who are quick to call you brother, and never work for exposure. And Brian is swirling there. And going from everything or nothing to something or nothing often changes your life and often makes you more consistently productive. Well, yeah. I think it may be in my case. I think you got something there, Nick. Thank you. And I don't know. I don't think. Brian, if you can hear me, back all the way out and then come back in. All right, there we go. And let's see. Here we go. We'll answer a couple things here. Keep the comments coming, please. Here's a question from Sarah. Sarah, I can't seem to find an answer to. How do you guys do time management? I really have a hard time with that. I wonder if there's a problem with so many distractions digitally, etc., causing a problem. Well, for one thing, it's been scientifically proven that, like, during my lifetime, our attention spans have been whittled down. Forget things about ADD and ADHD, or high definition or any of that stuff. Things like the old show Laugh-In and also Sesame Street have and music videos have trained us basically to not be able to focus as much. It's, there have been studies on this, and that's why they found out that, like, your brain resets like every 8 seconds or so. That's why you see so many, smash cuts in videos now on YouTube, music videos, etc. Is to take advantage of that that attention span deficit that we all have now. What I do to now, I didn't do it today. I misplaced my list. I forgot to make a list today, but I usually make a list of what I have to get accomplished that day, and then work to get those things off my list. I try to prioritize them so that I can get them done. I'm going to check, see if Brian's left me a message on here. And let's see. Oh, Brian Rodman has a storm and his internet just went out. Brian, we hear you, and I will just carry on till we get through the questions here. All right, folks. And I'm sorry Brian had to leave us. We love you, Brian. And anyway, so you're between one Brian now. May God have mercy on your souls. But anyway, but yeah, you just have to find a way to. He's back. To hell with the storm. He's defiant.
Yeah, man. Jeez, my internet crapped out and then it came right back. So.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm
Great.
glad. Good. Well, I was answering this question about time management. Sarah has a problem with it. I said make a list and prioritize that list. What must get accomplished? And I don't load my list down for my daily.
Scheduling. What I would say, if you address your problem areas first, get a week planner, or a monthly planner, and what I have done in the past, now I don't have to. I have no concept of time, but now or what I've done in the past is I have allotted specific days and times during each day to rest, and I've scheduled my rest times and days first, and then I structure everything else around it. And I stay strict on that. That has helped me quite a bit.
Yeah, I hear you. And Dawn got 2 pretty new canes in the mail today. Ordering was a huge thing for me to accept and actually do. I was telling Brian before the show, I have a brand new cane that I bought because of my bad knee. And the minute I bought it, my bad knee cleared up.
And that's all you needed. I have a handy dandy walking stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also, if you would but look to my left,
yes,
I have the Gandalf staff.
Yes, you do. None shall pass.
Hanging up on my wall. Every now and then I'll just walk through the house with it.
Yeah. I hear you. And author Michaela Jade says, "Oh, good, rest is important." I hear that it is too. But I get so little of it. But anyway, and he's back, and so, And we are programmed for this sort of thing. Donna Carlene says, my nephew was having 2 hours of homework in first grade.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
crazy.
That's cruel. I was like, really? I didn't have that much in high school, much less college. Yeah, same with me. I don't remember getting any sort of homework before 4th grade myself, but
yeah, I had homework. I didn't have that much I didn't have hardly any in like up to about 3rd or 4th grade. High school, it was awful. High school and middle school was terrible.
Oh yeah. Same here. And let's see. And Kelly Carlisle says goodnight to us. Hey guys, great show tonight. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. She's got to go. It's time to get back to the computer, Twinkies, coffees, and Dale Taco Bell for a night of editing. Be good friends. Bye, Brian's. Bye, Kelly. Love you, hon. And from the desk of Small Press Publisher, interesting question. Just thinking why in some circle nowadays that hustles are looked upon negatively. If you're not doing anything illegal or hurting people, it should be positive experience. Well, we established early on the show, as long as you're not hurting yourself, not damaging yourself mentally or physically, that's one thing. I like to address this. I think a lot of it comes from jealousy. Because a lot of
what do you mean?
Well, to give you an illustration, I mentioned this before. I was giving a talk at a local library about 6 years ago or so. And one person came in. The first question I got was, how do I get where you are, Brian, without having to do any of the work you had to put in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And my answer was like, even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you, because you have to go through the thing. And a lot of people, I've talked over the years about how people, it's kind of like crab fishing, that if you have one crab in the cage, they will try to crawl out. They will try to escape. But you put 2 or more in that cage, anytime one of them tries to climb up the side of those cages, the others will pull him down. And they will even go so far as to tear him apart to prevent him from going up again. And I've gotten a number of people that see what I have accomplished, such as it is in my field, and they're like, well, it's like Damien Waldron sent me a wonderful video this week talking about how people are always jealous of what you have accomplished, but they're never jealous of what you had to do to get there.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty profound, actually. And some people are like that. And that's why a number of people get detractors that, they don't want you to change because that changes their world. They don't want you to get it because they think it's a zero-sum thing, that there's only so much happiness and success to go around. And as I've said for years, I don't want a larger piece of the pie. I want to grow the pie.
Yeah.
So that we all can have a slice. And
I would say this, if going back to what I said about prior commitments, right? If you have committed, if you've already committed most of your time to specific things that you are serious about, and then all of a sudden you're like, I want to be, an indie creator. Well, you have to realize what's realistic in your life and what's not. And going off of like, I think we really need to be careful when we say, as long as you're not hurting someone, it's okay. Because a lot of times we don't think far enough when it comes to those things. Like maybe doing something is hurting other people, you just don't realize it. And you can't always control that kind of stuff. But I would say a lot of times, like, I've seen it in my own personal life, not me personally, but like my friends, they want something new, they go after it, and they leave their prior commitments behind. Big ones, marriages, because they want to go and become a star, or they want to go and, chase this dream. And I would say that is extremely harmful and toxic. And so that kind of stuff, I guess that's for me, like, if you are married and you have young children and they need your attention and time, maybe pump the brakes on being an indie author for now. You don't have to quit, you don't have to stop, but realize that you don't have time for this at the moment. Maybe when the kids are a little older, you'll have more time. write
Mm.
notes, write, when you can, write when you can, but don't pursue that full-time kind of gig at the moment because you can't. And I think
Mhm.
so many people, that's when you get burnout, right? Is you
Right.
have all this already in your life, and then you decide you want to do this thing, and
Mhm.
you don't, you physically can't do it, but you do it anyway, and then your life falls apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, then
Or
that's
you fall apart.
or you fall apart. Exactly.
That's true. And Carl says mostly about Dawn's canes. Not really off topic, but it's about accepting that sometimes you can't do what others do, but you are not at fault. People should not blame you for walking slowly or using a cane. Amen. And
Exactly.
it's the same thing. It's like this year, I am I'm on track to release 3 novels this year.
That's awesome.
Thank
That's
you. 2 of them
insane.
from me, 1 is from someone else.
That's still awesome. That's so
Thank
great.
you, thank you. But it's taken time to assemble all of them. Is the
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and just because and there have been some years I don't get a novel out,
Yeah.
but I get a lot of short stories out. It's just the way the luck of the draw happens. But you shouldn't beat yourself out because you don't get a book out a year or
Yeah.
because you don't get something published in a year. You do it at your own speed. You do what you can do, and just be happy with what you accomplish.
I mean,
So
just the
yeah.
other day, I think it might have actually been yesterday, I
Mhm.
realized, and I posted about it, I realized that I hadn't launched anything on Kickstarter
Mm,
in 2 years.
that's true.
Um,
You haven't. That's right.
and that's a first. That's a first since 2018. I had
Uh-huh.
launched every year,
Uh-huh.
and I at least once a year.
Yeah.
And I realized that yesterday, and I was like, "Dang, that sucks." But I wasn't hard on myself because, like,
Right.
what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm not like that was a moment where I realized the reality of the situation prevented me from launching, and I tried to launch
Oh
last
yeah.
year, and I just
Oh
couldn't.
yeah.
And so I think, yeah, I think that's a perfect example of that. Is you realize, okay, I can't go at the same pace that I used to, and I have
Hmm.
to slow down.
Yeah.
I can't, like I said, I can't compete with folks who are 100% healthy and just cranking them out. I can't
Hmm.
do that, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I have to accept it.
Same with me due to age and post-COVID effects.
Yeah,
I can't do everything I once could, but I still do what I can, like you
yeah.
said. And it's like I was in a similar boat when we published this. I realized that I had not published for myself in 4.5 years.
Yeah, this is the first book that you've published since I've known you.
Oh, that's true.
Like,
Wow.
you've been in other books,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't seen you publish a book of your own
Hmm.
since we had met, and I realized that a little bit after I think I was actually reading the book, and I was like, "This is the first book because I have all your other books, but I had
Right.
never we didn't know each other when you put them
Right.
out." So, yeah,
That's true.
I thought
Yeah.
that was interesting, but you were always busy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You were always doing work. I mean, that's another thing, like, you were also broadcasting like
Hmm.
crazy, like you said earlier, for
Yeah.
a while there. So I
Oh, yeah.
think that's a part of it too.
I think you're
And your
right.
broadcasting, I've said it many times, saved my sanity in 2020.
I
So
appreciate
I'm
that. I
very
do.
thankful that you did that.
I am too. I am
Yeah.
too. I've gotten to know a wonderful group of lovely people as a result. Yourself included. You betcha. Michaela Jane says, "Ew, it takes hard work. I don't want to do that. I just want to be a star." You
Right.
already are, sweetheart. You really are. You're a star to me. So anyway, let's see if we got any more comments. And whoosh, go be yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Indeed.
Um, and let's see, here we go. And Sarah has a little thing about what we, how we, we've mentioned off and on how we beat ourselves up. I'm reminded of how much I speak badly about myself when he kept meaning me. I'm the guilty party, kept pointing it out. I had no clue I was even doing it. That was enlightening.
Yeah.
And let's
Most times
see.
we don't know we're doing it until
Oh
someone else
yeah.
does something to you.
And I was in the
Um,
same boat a few years ago. I used to do what I would call self-deprecation,
yeah.
and it was just, my imposter syndrome giving voice. So,
Yeah.
And there we go. And, ties in with self-care. And we really need to work on what we tell ourselves. That is true. It's like I say, if you say you can, then you're right. If you say you can't, you're also right.
Yep.
Molly Daniel says I can usually ignore the voice in my house, but occasionally gets inside my head and I get into a funk. At least it doesn't last for long. Sarah says, I'm having to step back from writing to focus on my mental, emotional, and physical health. Dang, I had no clue what I was feeding myself. That's hard to realize.
Good job, Sarah. Good job. Yeah.
Knowing it and working to fix it. That works. And like Sarah was talking about, says Carl Witzman, sometimes you work so long that you mess up. Writers and artists can work fast and the quality can go now. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And Molly's on break, so we'll have to talk fast.
I think I really wanted to hammer this home. I wanted to say this, and I had forgotten. I'm glad I remembered.
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway from this subject in this conversation is we are not what we do.
Right.
We are not what we produce.
Right.
Right. There's so much more to who we are, to what our purpose is as humans, than what we produce for consumption, what we pour out of ourselves into work. We're so much more than that. And I think a lot of times, and I don't want to beat up on America,
no.
but we do that here. We really do. And not just here. Yeah, like I said, there's many different cultures around the world. It just intertwines our self-worth with our work. And while work is a part of it, work is a part of who we are, it is not who we are.
Right.
And that I have had to remind myself of that many, many times.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest thing we can take away from this.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think that's a good place to drop out of the conversation here. And let's make sure that we have everyone else. And I'm going to write down, Kelly Austin left a question from earlier that we might want to work around for next time.
Okay.
And Carl Westman says, I meant to say that you can work so much and go so fast that your quality actually goes down. Quantity versus quantity. And I'm giving up my reading time, so feel privileged. We do, Molly. Thank you for being here. And Sarah says, I get negative things fed to me as well, so shielding needs to be done as well. Thanks for the good job. Sincerely. Thank you, sweetheart. And your presence is always our privilege. Indeed, we're privileged to have Molly and all of you here.
Yeah.
So I think, and Sarah, thank you, hon. Thanks for the enlightenment. Glad to. And thank you, Woke Breaker. Appreciate that so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Well, that's what we try to do here, and we try to take an even-handed and civil approach to topics that could be like walking on eggshells, but here we are.
And speaking of civil, again, just a shout out to everybody. This topic was not as controversial as others that we've discussed, but you all show up, you have great things to say, and you do it in a civil way. And thank you, because most of the internet is not like this.
No.
So we very much appreciate your presence and how you handle this time. So thank you.
For sure. You guys are a glorious example that other shows should have tried to follow. And we did a decent job staying on topic. That's true. You guys did a good job. I'm proud of each and every one.
Brian, there were rails in this show.
There were.
We stayed on the rails, well, for the most part.
You must have brought them here, man, because I sure
I won't remember this conversation tomorrow.
Yeah, really. No kidding. I mean, once I say goodnight, then we're done. Anyway, Woke Breaker says, you guys do advice shows? Writing wise, yes, we do. In fact,
I was going to suggest we might do that here soon. Yeah,
I think so. And Sarah, we love you loving our discussions. I love you, hun. You know that. And good show, everyone. Have a great evening. Rather. Thank you, Carl, for being a part of it. Thank you for your input. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of you for giving your wisdom and your questions and your comments to us. We appreciate you all very, very greatly, and you help make this show what it is,
Indeed. Very much so.
Anyway, Woke Breaker, before you go, thank you and good night to you. But before you go, stay tuned. Maybe we'll do a writing advice show or a creativity advice show, and all y'all bring your questions, and we'll try to help you. And this was such an important topic. Yes, there were rails. Well, I'm no wonder I don't recognize them. I'm not used to them. So
these are foreign things. We're not sure what they are.
yeah. And Molly's going to have Tuesdays off just until June. Well, we look forward to having you. And Donna, thank you for being here, sweetheart. Well, love you, hun. I hope you have a great rest of your night. And so I think we will tie this up here. And first of all, we want to thank the people who helped bring us here. And first and foremost, I should say our Patreon people. Patreon provides a service where you can support your favorite creators with an affordable monthly stipend. And these people are helping the rising tide, just as they are helping Rodman Books move ahead in our missions here, getting things done, getting things accomplished. And you guys are a huge help. And if you'd like to become a part of our campaigns, our rising tides, we would love to have you. So check us out at www.patreon.com /Brian Rodman or Brian K. Morris, all lowercase, all one word. And please check out what we offer in exchange for your financial support. We hope you will be entertained. And also we want to thank Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics for being awesome and sponsoring us all the time. They do great covers available on Amazon and also available at SI Comic Con this weekend, Saturday from 10 to 5 at the Benton, Illinois Community Center. I don't remember the address because I left my address book in the other room, but please check out my page. I will be talking about it all this week. And please come see us at the show. We will have copies of The Terrors and other delightful books for you. And also, thank you to our brand new sponsor, the Indie Author Book Expo, gift shop and bookstore in West Des Moines, Iowa. Plus, they do mail order. And here's a little sample of what they got.
Hey everyone, if you haven't heard, let me tell you all about Iowa's only all indie independent bookstore. That means every book on our shelves is self-published or produced by a small publisher. What does that mean for you? Simple. Better books built together. Now come check out what you've been missing at IABE Books and Gifts and find a new reason to fall in love with books again. Located at Valley West Mall across from the Des Moines Children's Museum. IABE is a literary nonprofit.
There you go. Thank you very much, Jen Thompson, for your support. And Dawn says, good night, all hugs and kisses and handcuffs if you wish. We'll be talking to you about that later. And there's a show coming soon to the Michaela Jade YouTube channel about writing.
Woo!
Yes, and it's gonna be good. And everyone, thank you, Jen. We love you too. Mwah. Hope you tune in next time. But anyway, that's what we got here. Now, I've already blathered about what I've got going on all my books available on Amazon. And also, I forgot to mention, you can sign up on risingtide.pub for my free monthly insider information email. Check that out. And also, Brian, what have you got going on?
I am up to all sorts of no good. We have multiple comic books, including Memoirs of an Angel, The Gray Pilgrim, trade paperback, as well as 8 individual issues. We also have the Nebulizer comic book available on BrianRobin.com. Plus, we've been a part of multiple anthologies, including the award-winning Pulp Reality #4 that somebody else was also a part of, and Jeffrey Hayes did the cover for. So
won an award for it too.
Exactly, yeah. Head on over to BrianRobin.com. Check out what we have in the coming months. My first novel will be released on Kickstarter, or we launched on Kickstarter, and soon to be released in many different platforms after that. So that's what I've got going on. If you don't already, if you're not already subscribed, go to BrianRobin.com. I send out a monthly newsletter. It is something to chew on. It's a lengthy, thing you can kind of come back to, and it just has a topic and then updates and different things that I'm into, what I'm up to. Usually has some secret links in there as well. But if you want to keep up with me, go to brianrodman.com, sign up on the homepage.
I haven't. I'm a better person for it. So anyway, that's pretty pathetic beforehand. But anyway, we appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thank you. We will try to be back in about 2 weeks or so. But check our pages on Facebook. We will definitely let you know when we are up and ready to bring you another show, whether you want it or not.
How dare you!
Well, we do that sort of thing. Anyway, and you know what? I don't have it on here. I need to load the Stan Lee one that I played
Oh,
for you.
man, that's funny.
I don't have it on this channel here. But anyway, folks, let's see, one more comment. Let's see if it's anything. Okay, and let's see. Oh, after I get done with order nebulizer number 2. Excellent.
It'll be ready for you. I'll even sign it for you, Molly. So there
you go. He'll put some. Maybe he'll even lick the spine like Sarah would want you to have.
But
anyway,
every time.
Oh yeah, Brian's DNA. Then you can clone him or at least photocopy him. But anyway,
why would you ever want that? Well, I know why you would want
Brian.
that. Yeah.
So anyway, folks, thank you so much for being here on Between Two Brians, and we hope that between the two of us, we have straightened everything out for you. Hopefully, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We hope to see you here. And as always, folks, thank you for being here. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Thank you very much for being here, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks